No, I'm going to return it next week. I am not done grading everyone's exam yet. I only grade like first page for everyone, last page for everyone. So I still have my middle 2 pages. Not good. Based on the first and last. The last page was extra credit. Most of the people didn't even try that. And whoever tried it, they gave me so weird answers like, really? 4 chance means which method of factoring? Grouping. You just have to group them. You get any points for trying, like a half point. Full points if you get everything correct. No points if you didn't get full thing correct. Today we smiled less. Yes. Every day like, hi, Professor. And I love to see your smiling face. Is everything okay? See, now you're smiling brightly. Okay, let's start. If we finish early, we can go early. Okay, so my plan for today is to finish 6.7 with only 2 questions, and then we'll go to chapter 7. Our first exam, not first exam, our third exam will be March. Our third exam will be March 31st, the day before our spring break starts. Up to which section we are going to decide that next week Friday. Okay, so it's definitely section 6.3 and then 6.567. 5, right?
I have a question, Professor.
Go ahead.
Our test corrections are due this next Tuesday or
Tuesday.
Tuesday?
Oh, 6.7 talks about 6.5 talks about this. So 6.6, not 6.5.
How do we do the test corrections if we don't know what we got wrong?
You have to do the entire test again.
I don't know what I got wrong, but I'm just doing wrong.
Do the entire test again. Retest. Retake you the test. That's the point. Retake your test.
Will we get the test back next Tuesday?
I will give you your exam back, and you can submit your correction by midnight. But it doesn't matter what you got wrong. I want you to complete the entire test correctly.
So if we didn't
No. So the actual test, I'm grading it. The correction is for you to learn the mistake you made. You already know how you took the test, right? You already know what answer you gave, what answer you put in the exam. You don't know what exam you put in the test? What answers? No? No problem. Retake the entire exam. That's my purpose. Retake the entire exam. Relearn all the materials again. So whatever you made mistake, you're going to see. And you're going to laugh yourself like, oh, really? I did that? Oh, man, how stupid I was.
Is it mandatory to complete the test with SIC or
whoever you have availability? You can see you can use SIC, SEC, or your PLTL. Like whoever is available for you. Not alone. Because if you do it alone, either you have to use AI, or you're going to make the same mistake again what you made in the exam. Then what's the point? Right? The main purpose is to learn all the materials. Why? Because the entire chapter 7 is based on the factoring. So if you don't know how to factor, there is no way you can solve equation by factoring. There is no way you can do any of chapter 7 materials. And then we have chapter 10, and good luck with that. So the entire rest of the materials are based on factoring. So you should know your factoring.
You have to go to a stack.
Whoever is available for you, either SIC, if you're a SIC student, you can work with your SIC tutors or go to SAC, or if you have your PLTL leaders, they're willing to, actually it's bad luck because tomorrow there is no class. So there is no PLTL. You can do that. The due date is Tuesday, but I gave the actual deadline Thursday. So even after Tuesday, you can submit.
And it will still be the same amount of every point?
If I don't put Tuesday, then they'll ask me again, like, oh, can you give me extension till Friday or till other day? It happened last time. So I was like, the deadline is Tuesday. And then people are going to beg me, oh, please give us one more day. I was like, okay, take one more day. But actually, deadline is Thursday, actually. It's a trick. Okay, anyway, so our next exam will be trial and guess method, solving quadratic, real life application of quadratic from chapter 6. And then in chapter 7, we are going to learn so many materials. So you'll decide next week Friday, after which section we should put in the exam. Daniel, question? Any other question from anyone? Comments? Concern? We do have concern, but it's okay. Just do the entire exam. Okay, so 6.7 we started in our last class. And we did 2 examples. One is fun math riddle. You can do it mentally, but then you can see only one solution right away. But there is another solution, so it's better to just do it using our quadratic knowledge. So you start with your equation, bring everything to one side, factor, set each factor equals 0, and then solve for x from each factor. The next one was a little bit harder. It was talking about length and width of a rectangle. They gave us a condition that the length is 4 centimeter, 4 times the width, and then 5 units less. So we have to use their information. So we write length is 4w minus 5, where w is the width. And they gave us the area is total area is 6. So length times width is 6, but we have a length in terms of w. So we substitute length with our formula and then distribute, bring everything to one side, we get a nice quadratic equation. Unfortunately, this is not directly factorable because we have an A. Anytime you have an A, either you're going to use AC method or the trial method. Now, if you do use AC method or trial method, whatever you do, you're supposed to get 2 factors. You set each factor equals to 0, solve for your W. And here you're going to get 1 positive, 1 negative. We cannot accept the negative W because W is width. We can never have a negative width in real life. So anytime you're working with anything in real life, time, length, width, length, width, time, anything that distance, like if you have those real life scenarios, we cannot have a negative result. So you work with a positive result and we get our W, substitute back into the length to get how much is the length. And we did up to here, and now starts today's materials. We are going to see a new scenario. In this new scenario, you're acting a little bit mischievous. You went to a very top of a building, suppose, like top of the Baruch building, and then decided to throw a ball from there. Why? Who knows? You're crazy, that's why. So, you are on a top of a tall building. Here. And you're standing here. You have a ball on your hands, and they decide to throw it. When you throw a ball, we usually throw like basketball, right? Anytime you throw something, we never throw this way. Like, especially guys, they never throw something straight down. They always throw this way, right? Reality. So he decided to throw the ball. So the ball goes up here, and then it comes down little by little, and then it reaches the ground. So this is your ground. That's the scenario. He went on the top of a building and then threw a ball from the top of the building. Now the height of the ball, either here, the height at any moment after you throw the ball is defined by this equation. H of t equals negative 5t squared plus 20t plus 25. So this h of t you see here, it's the height of the ball. Height of the ball at any time t. For example, when time is 0, means it is standing on the top of the building. You substitute t with 0, so you get 25. So before you even start throwing the ball, the height of the ball from the ground is 25 feet. And after you throw the ball, after 1 second, we get 1 square is 1, and then you have negative 5 plus 20 plus 25. So 20 minus 5 is 15. 15 plus 25 is 40. So after 1 second of you throwing the ball, like was here, when the ball is here, the height of the ball from the ground is 40 feet. After 2 seconds, you substitute 2 here, do the math, the height of the ball from that position to the ground is that much. So height of the ball at any moment after you throw the ball is given by this height function. Clear? So that's the scenario. Now, once they told us what is happening, they want us to find out this. How many seconds after throwing the ball, so you threw the ball, after how many seconds you threw the ball will hit the ground. So we have h of t, which is the height, Height, is negative 5t squared plus 20t plus 25. They want us to solve for which one? The height or for t? What they're asking for? After how many seconds? How many seconds after throwing the ball? Time. So solve for t. Now, if you have to solve for t, there are two variables, there are two unknowns here. One is the height and one is the time. If you have two unknowns, we cannot solve anything. We must have only one unknown to solve something. We know we have to solve t. That means the height cannot be unknown. It must be given to us. And so how do you know what's the height?
It's also negative.
Height cannot be negative. I feel like. So how do you know how much is the height here? They gave us the information trickily, hidden away.
What do you solve?
In order to solve, we have to have a number or a variable, a number on the other side. 25 is the height before you throw the ball. But it's asking for after you throw the ball.
In the type of sample, we don't have to look for the DTFA.
That comes later. My question is, in order to solve this, we have to have a number here. Because they are asking us to find the t. Get you t alone. That means highest must be given. How do you know 0?
You have to always know that. Look what we have to find out the it's time. So you
But did it tell us anywhere here that our height is 0?
No.
They did. Exactly, that's my question. Why aren't they telling us that our height of the ball is 0? Which information, which sentence, which word, which thing tells you here that the height of the ball is 0? Good, but how do you know in this equation, they're asking us to find t, but they're telling us indirectly that our height is 0. The height of the ball is 0.
It's because
Huh? H of t means height of the ball at any time t. Now they're asking at what time?
Yeah, because
What's the height of the ball?
we have to find the time. So we
That means you need to know the height. So he said the height is 0. And I agree with him. The height is 0. But my question is, which information tells you that the height is 0? That's it.
The whole thing is divided by 5, and then it's c squared by 7.
You cannot do any math until you have a number here. You cannot solve anything with two variables on two sides. You can factor, you can simplify, you can do everything, but you cannot solve. But they're asking us to solve for t.
They're just saying like how many after trying the ball will it hit the ground? Is it that?
Good. So hit the ball, hit the ground means what's the height of the ball. When the ball hits the ground, what's the height you see here?
0.
Exactly. So where from we get the 0 here? By hitting the ground. So in your exam, they may not give you the height is the ball is hitting the ground. They may ask you at what time the height will be, let's say 10 feet. Okay. So they definitely will give you the height if they're asking to find the time. If they're asking to find the height, they will give you the time. So one of these two variables must be given and it will be hidden somewhere. Especially here, it's hidden. It says at what time or after throwing the ball, after how many seconds, the ball will hit the ground. Anytime you hit the ground with anything, the height of that thing is 0. Okay? So if I throw my pen, the height is currently something, I don't know. See, right now it's my height, now it's this height, not this height. But if I throw this ball on the ground, what will be the height of my pen? 0. So bottom line, anytime you see something is hitting the ground, automatically means your height is 0. So we have 0 equals negative 5t squared plus 20t plus 25. And now we go ahead and use all the knowledge we learned from previous sections to solve for t. So what do you do in our first step?
we have to equals to 0. And
We did that. How do we remove the negative?
you have to put in both sides positive 5t squared.
But then you cannot solve it without calculator. This is a normal quadratic equation. How do you solve quadratic equation? We can do switching sides. We did several examples. See, all these examples we did in our last class, they are solving quadratic equations. How did we solve all these quadratic equations? Joshua.
I say below the -5.
GCF. Anytime you're solving or you're factoring, you always should look for GCF. Okay? GCF must be your first thought every time. So we have -5 as our GCF. So if you factor out -5, what is left in every term, in each term? Huh? Say it louder, I can't hear you guys. Go ahead.
You can do the other way by multiplying -5 with 25. Or you can do that too.
What is 5 times 25? And then find two numbers that add up to 20. But is it hard? Is it easier, or then the thing we are going to do will be easier? You'll see.
Wouldn't it be t squared plus 4t?
So when you divide, the remaining term is, so when you factor out anything, the remaining term is when you divide the rest. If you divide 20 by -5, what do you get? -40, not +40. -40. We have, let me write it on the other side. We have -5, and then t squared -4t minus 5 equals 0. Can you factor this more? What two numbers multiply to 5 combined to 4? -5, +1. So you factored completely. Now this one has a t, so this is useful. This one has a t, so this is useful. But does -5 has a t? -5 have a t? So is this useful? Not useful. So what do you do with useless thing in your life? Do you keep them or do you kick them out?
Give them
So how are you going to kick this out?
divided.
Divide by -5. You don't need it, it's useless. So you're left with t minus 5, t plus 1 equals 0. So we factored, and then what is our next step?
We have to put t minus 5 equals 0,
Mm-hmm.
and then t plus 1 equals 0,
Mm-hmm.
and then we put +5 on both sides,
Mm-hmm.
plus -1 in both sides,
Mm-hmm.
and that will be t positive and t -1.
What is t?
So time cannot be negative. So the answer will be
Only 5. Time cannot be negative. If you want to use AC method, sure, no problem, but you have to work with big numbers. So basically they are saying once you throw the ball, after 5 seconds, it will be in the ground with this formula.
You have to show the units exactly miles.
In the exam, it's fine, you don't have to. But on my method, I think it asks for units. And guess what? You are going to see this question in the exam. Exam 3. Final, not always, but sometimes. But definitely you're going to see this in the final exam. If you pass this class and go to pre-cal 2003 or 2009, you're going to see this in the exam, final exam.
And one of the unknowns will be given in the question.
Always. Anytime they ask you to solve, that means one of the unknowns must be given. Otherwise, we cannot solve. Mora?
we have to answer the like complete sentences of the
Just a minute.
Whatever they give us inside the question, it's gonna be given to us.
Equation will be given. You just have to figure out what is given, the height or the time. If the height is given, that means they are asking for you to solve for time. If the time is given, that means substitute here and then solve for the height. But one of these things definitely will be given. So that was our third scenario, which will be in the exam. The other two scenarios, they will not be in the exam, but they are in my math lab. Now there's a fourth scenario that I like so much because it's fun. Not because it's important, but because it's fun. We have a quadrilateral. You know what is quadrilateral? How many sides a quadrilateral has? 4. That's why it's called quad. Quad means 4. So we have a quadrilateral. It doesn't look like pyramid. It doesn't look like a rectangle or rhombus. It's just a quadrilateral. all sides are here, they look different. But they are saying, well, we have this weird shape, and the parameter of this weird shape is 35 centimeter. Don't do that. Okay. 35 centimeter. What is parameter? What does it mean? And what do you do with the outsides, all the sides? Add them. So parameter means sum of all sides of whatever shape you have. If you have a rectangle, that means you're adding 3 sides. If you have a quadrilateral, you're adding 4 sides. If you have a 5-sided thingy, you have to add all the 5 sides. So parameter means the sum of the sides. So we know parameter is sum of side 1, 2, 3, 4, right? Oh, I shouldn't do this, otherwise you're going to do the math. Side 1, 2, 3, and 4. Do you know how much is the parameter? 35. Do we know all 4 sides?
Yes.
So what is our first side? X plus 4. So you're starting from here. So this is side 1. What is our next side? Huh? X plus 9. What is our side number 3? Since you are going this direction, what is our next side? X squared minus 2x. And what is our last side? 2x minus 2. So if we add, the order doesn't matter because you're adding all of them anyway. So if you add all of these, the result is 35. But how much you get from adding all of them? We have x squared. Do you have any other x squared? We have only one x squared. Now, how many x's we have? Look at their signs. If you don't have any sign, that means what sign you have? Positive. So we have 2 positive, 1 positive, 1 positive. So we have 4 positive and how many negative? So how many total we have? 2. You can actually simply cancel this plus 2 and minus 2. And you're left with the plus 2x. And then if you observe the numbers, we have 4, 9, and minus 2. So how many total? Or how much total? 11. So let me rewrite. We have x squared plus 2x plus 11 is 35. So it's a nice quadratic equation. Quadratic equation. So how do you solve quadratic equation?
Number, like, something that you can
Solve this quadratic equation. Quadratic equation. I said solves. So when I said solve, remember in last class, what did I say?
So we have to put
You should not do anything if you don't see a 0. So step 1 is not finding 2 numbers. Step 1 is what?
put equal to 0. So we have to put negative 35.
To subtract 35.
So we
Mm-hmm.
x squared plus 2x plus 11 minus 35.
These are like terms, so when you combine, what do you get?
So we have to
Mm-hmm. We have minus 35 on the left side and you're adding 11. How much you get? How much? Minus how much? Say it again, I didn't hear you. 26? 46. No. 24. Because you're adding and subtracting, means you have to subtract. So it's 24. Equals to what? 0. So solve means must see a 0. In many cases, not always, but in most cases. Especially if you have two types of variables, two types of powers, you have to see a 0. That's the rule. So we see power 2 here. We see 2 power here and 1 power here. If you have two different powers, you have to bring everything to one side. That's the rule. Two different types of powers, bring everything to one side so that you can have a 0. Now this is just like the other quadratic equation we solved. So then what do? We see 0, we are happy. And then what do? Factor. How do you find the two factors? Multiply to negative 24. 6 and 4. What sign 6 must have? Positive. So if you have plus 6 and you want to get 2, are you going to add 4 or subtract 4? That's how you decide sign. So it's not minus 6, it's plus 6, but the minus 4. And how do you split it x square? X and x. So steps. Bring everything to one side. My one side doesn't fit, so let me write again. Everything to one side. Then we factor. And then what do we do with this factor? That each factor equals 0. So x plus 6, 0, x minus 4, 0. And then what is our last thing we do?
Minus 6.
So for x, minus 6,
And positive 4.
and 4, and 4.
Minus 6. And x equals positive.
Now what is x? What it represents?
30%.
No, x is the side or length. So can you have a negative length? So we just wasted our time on negative 6. Length cannot be negative. Exactly. Now, are we done? Read the question, what they're asking for. Good. It says find the length of each side. Did we do that? So now it's time to find each side. What is our first side? If x is 4, the first side is 4 plus 4, which is? You're adding plus. Our second side is x plus 9. So we get 4 plus 9, which is 13. Our next side is x squared minus 2x. So 4 squared minus 2 times 4. 16 minus 8, that gives us 8. And our last side is 2 times 4 minus 2, 6. And now we are done. We found the length of each side. So if you want, you don't have to, but if you want, you can write the length for each side here. X plus 4 is 8. X plus 9 is 13. Then this side is 8. And this side is 6.
The first equation, x squared plus 2x. Okay, so when we added everything up, we got x squared plus 2x plus 11, right? So why couldn't we just plug in 4? And if you plug in 4, it also equals 35.
My question is, how do you randomly find 4? If the answer wasn't 4 but 14, would you start from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 14? And what if the answer was, let's say, 45? So it is, you can find it for smaller number, but for bigger numbers, no way. You wouldn't have time in the exam. So I might put this question in the exam if we have space, because I like it. It's fun. Maybe I'll give you a triangle, so you have to work less than quadrilateral. But the idea is same. Parameter means add all the sides. So add all the sides, and the information is given set equals to that number, but you have to bring everything to one side because you need to solve. Anytime solving and you have two different powers on variable, bring everything to one side. And with this, we are done with section 6.7. In your homework, there are so many other types of questions. There is a button on MyMathLab on the lower side. It says, help me solve this. And there is another one, view an example. So take advantage of those two options. If you click on help me solve this, they will help you solve a different question step by step. So you just follow the steps and then you get the answer. And if you click on view an example, they will show you a worked out entire example. You just follow the steps and do your one. Okay. Or you can put in Google and then they have detailed solution, most of the questions. So see the solution, how they solve it, and then follow the steps, do yours. Or you have your AI, use it as a tutor, not as a cheating tool, and then learn how to solve this by itself. Okay. There are so many options we have. But for me, sorry, I cannot go through all the questions. I used to have a recording where I went over every question, and then YouTube deleted my previous account. So I lost all of my data from past 4 or 5 years, which was sad. Any question?
Like there 5 or any number, what time to be to go?
You cannot have a zero length. So if your answer is 0 or negative, you have to disregard those answers.
You have like 55. You have to do.
Set it equals to 55 and then bring everything to one side. So if you have a length 0, you have to disregard that because there is no way you can have a length with 0 units. And with this, we are done in chapter 6. Now we are going to do chapter 7. Any question before we start chapter 7? So take 1 minute to refresh your brain, take deep breath for 1 minute, and let me take that. No phone. Just deep breathe before you digest this new information. 38, 7. Faith here. Christian here. Christina absent. Christopher here. Danielle here. Devla here. Dennis not here. Italy's here. Jared not here. Jay here. Joshua here. Justine here. Kathleen absent. Kelly here. Kyle here. Lady here. Lady no phone. Muntaha here. Nayari here. Nicholas I. Nicholas S. Aresti. Rana not here. Ricardo here. Taj not here. Mora here. And Zichi absent. Okay, so chapter 7 is all about rational. And rational means what? Fraction. Fraction. Rational number means a fraction number. Rational expression, it means it's a rational, but we have a variable somewhere, either on the numerator or on the denominator or on both places. So rational, if you see the word rational, a fraction automatically should come in your mind. Now, for this rational, what you're going to do is, first you're going to evaluate rational, means the x will be given, substitute, simplify. Then you're going to talk about domain. Do you remember what's wrong with rational? How do you find the domain? Cannot be 0. The denominator cannot be 0. That's the problem with rational. We don't want any 0 on the denominator. So we set the denominator not equals to 0, solve for x, and we get our domain. Then you're going to simplify rational. Means whatever is given, if you can simplify, go ahead and simplify that. That's the way we simplify rational, we multiply the same way. The difference between simplifying and multiplying is that simplify happens in one rational expression, and for multiplication, we have at least two fractions, and then we simplify them.
Well, so for the example, right, you said x equals 1. So x would be x equals 1. So you said 1 minus 1 is not equal to 0.
So 1 minus 1 is 0, but can you have 0 on the denominator? So what would be the answer? So you're going to multiply, divide, add, subtract, solve, and the last thing, apply them in real life. So real life application. So there are so many sections. So we have 7 sections, I think. So you're going to do 7 things. Up to how much our exam will be, we'll see next week. So let's start with something easy. We have f of x equals x plus 12 on the numerator, x minus 1 on the denominator. They want us to find how much is f of -1, means when x is -1, tell me what this fraction becomes. So what do I write on the numerator if x is -1? -1 plus 12, and denominator? Can you simplify 11 over -2? So leave it alone. You don't have to put it as a decimal. No, it's fine. The second one is also easy. They're asking to find f of 0. So 0 plus 12, 0 minus 1, 12 over -1, and you cannot flip this because it has a final result. What is 12 over -1? -12. So anytime you can rewrite, you must rewrite. The last one. Christian already knows the answer, so don't talk, Christian. Someone else would like to try the last one. 1 plus 12, 1 minus 1. 13 over 0. That's undefined. Good job, Nayari. I gave you $13 and asked you to find, I asked you to divide that $13 into 0 pieces. Can you do that? Can you disappear your $13? No way. So something impossible means does not exist.
So for rational expressions, the numerator and denominator have to be polynomial.
No, they can be anything. But the denominator cannot be 0. So this is the condition written here. They could be anything. Polynomial, whole number, fraction, decimal, negative, positive, anything. But the denominator cannot be 0. That leads us to the next point, domain. Anytime they ask you to talk about domain, remember, look at the denominator. So domain and denominator. If you look at these two expressions, denominator, they all have dominate. Dom, you see? The dom and denom. So if you forget what to do for domain, look at the denominator, denom. As we know, denominator cannot be 0. So we start by setting denominator not to be 0, and then figure out what makes the denominator 0. Omit them from the number line. Then the entire rest of the number line will be in your domain. Domain means what x value we can plug in your equation. So go ahead.
Either adding or subtracting, then it's gonna be the number itself. But when I'm like multiplying or dividing, it's gonna be 0.
By 0, yes.
With any number, 0 with any number.
0 times anything 0. 0 divided by any number is 0. But anything divided by 0, impossible. For example, if you have $0 and I told you to divide this $0 into 1 pieces, you can do it. You can do it mentally. But how much money you left to it? Still $0 because it started with nothing. That $0 you can divide into million pieces, no problem.
Yeah.
No, this one is 0 because you can do it.
When is it undefined?
When I'm asking you to divide into 0 pieces, denominator means divide into that many pieces.
It's like,
So I give you $0, asking you to divide into 1 pieces. It is real. You can do it visually, but you can do it mentally. You can divide into 0 pieces, you still have your 0. But for this one, I'm giving you $13 and asking you to divide it 13 into 0. You can do it. Denominator cannot be 0. It's impossible. Okay, so we take this denominator, x cubed plus 7x squared plus 6x, and we know this thing cannot be equal to 0. So this is equal sign, and if you put a line slant way, it means cannot be equal. Cannot be equal to something. So this denominator cannot be equal to 0. And then you solve. What is our first step to solve? GCF, good job. So what is our GCF here? F. So we factor out GCF, and what is left? 7x plus 6. And we got a quadratic. So what do you do now?
would be
x
x plus 6 and
plus 6, x plus 1. And we definitely cannot forget about our GCF.
so we put that over the -7.
How do you get -7 minus 6? Oh, we don't care about the numerator. Domain means only the denominator. Look at the denominator. We factor the denominator and we are happy. We found 3 things. Now, all these things will make the denominator 0. So we don't want the first denominator to be 0. Because that will make the entire thing to be 0. We don't want the second factor to be 0. Because 0 times anything will be 0. We also don't want the third factor to be 0. We want none of these factors to be 0. So from the second factor, what do you get by solving for x? So x cannot be -6. And from the last one, bless you, x cannot be -1. That means from the entire number line, we have positive infinity to negative infinity. We can apply any number from here into our equation, except -6, -1, and 0. Take anything from the number line. We don't care. But please do not take these 3 numbers. They will make your denominator 0 and everything will become undefined. Now, previously we learned how to write this in interval notation. Do you remember? So give me the interval notation for this piece.
-infinity, so
And what is their boundary? Parentheses. We cannot use the -6. Anytime we cannot use anything, must be represented by the parentheses.
So there, so then you would do union.
Our second piece. Or how do you get negative into -1? The second piece.
But it's not still coming from.
Yeah, but you cannot take the -6.
No, I said negative.
Yeah. So negative infinity starts from the left. From negative infinity to -1, there is a -6 that you cannot take. -6 is on this side.
So it would be -6 to
-6 to -1.
Okay.
This is this piece. So you cannot start from the very end. Because if you start from the very end,
You're
this is
gonna
something you
include.
cannot take.
Okay, you're gonna include 6.
So you have to break the entire number line into pieces. Small, tiny pieces.
why do we use parentheses again?
Parentheses means you cannot use the number.
Bracket is when you are including the number, and like the little like squiggly line is basically the brackets too. Like when you're including.
When you only one number. Muntaha, what?
No, I was like, so is it gonna be like, -6, positive infinity?
No, because positive infinity is here. But there are 2 numbers you cannot take. You look at the entire number line into pieces. Your first piece is this one. Negative into -6. Your second piece is this one. What do you have in this piece? 2.
Maybe 1.
You can take everything from -6 to -1, but you cannot take -1. That's why you have to stop because there is a hole. Every time you have a hole, you have to jump over. What do you mean 0 doesn't count? Your next interval is here.
Union. Parentheses -1.
So we have -1 to 0. And then finally you have your last piece.
0 to.
It's 0 to infinity.
So for the x equals to 0, you put that because you factored out the x.
We have x here.
Okay.
So every factor, none of the factor can be 0. If one of these factor is 0, then the result will be 0. But we don't want the result to be 0 because then the denominator will be 0. But you cannot have denominator to be 0. That's why the 3 factors we found, none of them can be 0. So the first factor cannot be 0. Second factor cannot be 0. Third factor cannot be 0. If we have 100 factors, none of them can be 0. So we set each of the factor not to be 0. But on MyMathLab, they're asking a different notation. So this notation, we call it interval notation. Interval notation. Because we have tiny intervals everywhere. So it's interval notation. The notation they want you to write the answer is set builder notation. In set builder notation, they're going to give you half of the information. You just fill out another half. So it says our domain is set of all the x values so that it's represented by a vertical bar. X is a real number, means it's not imaginary or anything, it's a real number. And it means we are taking all the real numbers except which numbers?
Except negative.
And 0. So they will fill out this entire portion for you here. Your job is to fill out this tiny portion. What numbers you cannot have for x? Oh, not. I forgot to put the equal sign. X not equal to. It says take all the x from the real number line, but do not take x equals -6, -1, and 0. These were my method only, okay? I already asked you this question in the first exam, so I'm not going to ask this one in the third exam. So domain will not be in the third exam. But you still should remember this for your final exam. If I have space, yeah, probably I can do it as extra credit. So we're done with evaluating, we're done with domain. One easy question, by looking at this question. X cannot be what? No, not x cannot be 0. Denominator cannot be 0. But I'm asking you, well, based on the denominator cannot be 0, what x cannot be? 11 minus 2 times 3. 11 minus 6 is 5. It's a real number. It's allowed. Solve for x. You don't have to do it mentally. Solve it. If you solve for x from the denominator, x is what? Huh? 5.5. So 11 minus 2x cannot be 0. You can add 2x to both sides. So 2x cannot be 11. Divide by 2. We get x cannot be half of 11 or 5.5, whatever is easier for you. So take the denominator, solve for x from there. So with this, we are done with domain. So unfortunately, none of these will be in the exam. Not the evaluating or not the domain. What will be in the exam is what is coming now. Can I flip my page twice? Are you guys done copying this page?
Yeah.
No? Okay. So we are going to learn now to simplify rationale. So to simplify, there are 3 steps. First one is factor. See the knowledge you gained or you learned in chapter 6? We're going to apply them here. Factor the numerator, factor the denominator if they are factorable. Once you factor, if you see the same factor in the numerator and denominator, cancel them. Once you cancel them, you're left with something, rewrite them in their proper position. Whatever you have left it in the numerator, keep it on the numerator. Whatever you have in the denominator, keep them on the denominator. And you're done. Simple, right? Let's do some examples. Simplify the expression 5 divided by 15x plus 75.
Wow. What do you think?
DTF of what? Numerator or denominator? Which one? Denominator. So numerator is just a single number. Leave it alone.
Would it be -5?
No, after the part.
15 divided by -5, it would be -75, 75.
But you're not working with 0. 0 only comes with denominator. It says simplify. You know what I will suggest to you guys to do? Make a note. Okay? Get a paper and then write down the direction and then their steps. For example, the first thing we learned was evaluating. What's the step? Substitute every x with the number, simplify. Next direction, find domain, write down the step. Set the denominator not equals to 0, solve for x. Okay. The next direction, simplify the expression. Means factor, cancel, rewrite. So anytime you see a question with direction, see what direction they give you and what step you're supposed to take. In that way, your life will be easier.
You go back to slides.
Back to slides. This is 11. So it says simplify, means 3 steps. Factor, cancel, rewrite. So numerator is only 5, there is nothing to factor, leave them alone. But the denominator, what do you see in the denominator? We have a DCF of 15. So factor your 15 out, then what is left? X plus 5. So step 1, factor. We did that. What is our next step? Cancel the common factor. So do you see anything that is divisible on the numerator and denominator? Cancel means divide. So do you see anything that we can divide by? What? 15 and 5. 5 goes to 5 once, 5 goes to 15 3 times. So we canceled. And now what is our last step? Rewrite. Whatever you left after the cancellation, just bring them down. So after the cancellation, what do you have in the numerator? No, we only cancel the 5. 1. And what do you have in the denominator? 3 times x plus 5. We don't have to distribute them. We can leave them alone. If you want, you can distribute, but you don't have to. So we rewrote. We rewrote we canceled, and we factored. So factor everything that is factorable. Cancel everything that you see divisible or cancelable. And then rewrite whatever you left with after the cancellation. Shake my phone. About
It's x plus 5 and y then 75 disappear.
do you see here? What did I write? So you factored out the 15. That's why I always suggest anytime you take DCF, do the division this way so you can see what remains. Okay, two more before we leave. The first one is 3x plus 27 on the numerator and x squared plus 9x on the denominator. Volunteer. Go ahead, Christian.
Wait, and taking the GCF, nah, you leave them there. So you take the GCF of x squared plus 9x.
So do you have any GCF on the numerator?
Yeah, you can take
3. And how about the denominator? So 3 and x. What is left after you take out the 3?
Yeah.
So we factored by GCF. And then what is our next step? Cancel them because we see the same things. And then our last step, rewrite the 3 over x. Not bad, right? Justin. How? That takes me to a new explanation. In math, there's only one sign that is very weak. It's multiplication. Multiplication is the weakest sign. So we can only cancel in multiplication. Okay. So we have x squared minus 1. What sign is between x squared and 1? Strong. Cannot cancel. Look at the denominator. What sign is between x and 1? Strong. Cannot cancel. But then why did we cancel in the last one? Well, no, that's because we have 3 and this one, x and this one. What sign is between these two? A multiplication sign. So when you have a multiplication on your left or your right, then you can cancel. So Justin, unfortunately, you cannot cancel because both of them are strong relationship. You cannot break them apart. They are in deep love with one another. So make something so that their love will be weak. What can you do, Daniel? What do you do? Good job. We have, don't do that, please. It doesn't work. Can I write here? No. Can I write here? No. Man, I hate that why it happens last minute. Give me 1 second. Let me open this save. So yes, we have a difference of perfect squares. Actually, you do it. So take the difference of perfect squares. What do you get on the numerator? X minus 1, x plus 1. And we have x plus 1 on the denominator. So do you see same factor on the numerator and denominator? We see x plus 1, so cancel them. And you're left with x minus 1. That's our answer. Can I write? No. So never mind. The answer is x minus 1 because we cancel x plus 1 from numerator and denominator. Now, we're not going to do anything today, but later when you come back tomorrow, not tomorrow. Oh, tomorrow there is no class. Tomorrow is Friday, right? So there is no class tomorrow, guys. We are going to meet again on Tuesday. When you come back Tuesday, we are going to do one simplifying. Nothing. School is closed tomorrow. We are going to do multiplication, division, addition, subtraction. Next class, inshallah. So enjoy your 4 days, right? Sorry, 3 days. Friday, Saturday, Sunday, 3 days weekends. Enjoy them. Don't forget to do homework on chapter 6. You too.